Good morning. I'm Jade Nicole, and joining me this morning is Councilman Kip Tyner. Good morning.
Good morning. Boy, it's a great pleasure to be back.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you here. You're always a pleasure to have here. We talk about a lot of different things, and I'm just excited because the 5th anniversary of the tornado, which of course pretty much decimated your district, and now is back and better than ever.
We are getting there. You know, one thing that people forget, too, not only was Alberta completely wiped out, and it truly was. There were 70 businesses along the main Alberta Business District before the tornado, and very few were standing afterwards. But also my entire District 5, which goes from Snow Hinton Park all the way to the river, up to Holt, all the way to Cottondale, past Hurricane Creek, all Veterans Parkway, University Mall, all that area right there is all District 5, and 65%, which may be a little conservative, was completely wiped out or destroyed. And, you know, my district, Alberta gets most of the attention because it's needed it, but, you know, district-wide, it was 65%. So just devastating.
Absolutely. I know that generally Holt did receive a lot of damage, but they're saying that's not really the city.
That's right. Holt is, I border Holt.
Okay.
My district lines run to Holt.
Okay.
And then it ends, and then it becomes the county. However, there are a couple of neighborhoods that, thanks to Mr. Clee Green years ago, the great barber in Alberta that took me to when I first campaigned in '97, that there are a couple of actually city neighborhoods that are surrounded by Holt. So I actually go into a few little pockets of Holt, but Holt is strictly in the county.
Okay. All right. So tell us about how the rebuilding process has gone since the tornado.
Well, you know, it was... I was telling someone the other day, we spent, I don't know how many months, that whole first year was a blur with all search and rescue first, knowing that there were survivors out there. And that was the number one priority. Then after the search and rescue was called off, it was clearing the debris. And like I said, from the Alberta Bridge to Crescent Ridge Road, there were 70 businesses along that area.
Wow.
So, including the school. So just about everything was gone. So you can imagine the debris removal. And then the largest loss of life also, unfortunately, in the city was just north of the boulevard in Alberta. And so all those houses in there that were, most of those at the time were rental properties. And so there were so many concerns about, well, there weren't great records exactly who lived in some of the homes because they were being rented. So the number one concern was to find any survivors. And then there came the process of removing the debris, which seemed like it would never, ever end.
Yeah, it did seem like it took a while.
And so then after all that, I think anyone that knows that had any property loss or a home loss was the battle with insurance. Some people had I was very fortunate. I had insurance that took care of me like almost immediately. My mom, on the other hand, I always thought had great insurance, but things were more difficult. And a lot of people had very difficult times dealing with insurance companies. So that months turned into years. And in fact, I was shocked to hear that only this last year did one business on 15th Street finally settle with their insurance.
What?
Yeah. So because some insurance companies did not want to pay.
Right.
And and that was a business. So they actually spent about a 4-year battle with their insurance company. One of the challenges in Alberta, too, was you could hardly walk 100 steps and find people who own the same property side by side. So there were multiple owners, and a lot of absentee landlords and a lot of out-of-state owners. Behind the scenes, it was all pretty, I'd say mind-blowing and eye-opening, the fact that you would see one block before the tornado and you didn't realize that maybe 2 or 3 different people owned that property. So all of that, then you had to, go through so many legal processes. So it was really a nightmare following the nightmare, which was, of course, that tornado that day.
Now, as far as the ordinances that have been enacted since that time, I know that some of those have made rebuilding a little more difficult than it was before. How is the real estate market in that area now?
Well, it was very difficult, and a lot of it I did not agree with, especially when it came to Alberta, and I'm still working on possible changes because I think it's been too restrictive in many areas, making it more difficult to build back. One of the biggest problems we're dealing with today are that people are asking too much for their property. And I can tell you, I could sit here and probably name for 30 minutes of people that I've sent that want to relocate in Alberta that are not going to pay the prices that some people are asking. So in a way, it's almost like you talking about gouging gas prices. People have been kind of gouging prices of their property. They're asking much more than it's worth. So unfortunately, there's been a lot of greed involved. I've tried not to even talk about that for so long, but it's gotten so frustrating when people will say, well, gosh, that piece of property, nothing's happening. Well, one of the reasons it's not happening, people are asking too much for their property. So until people become more reasonable, we're still going to have areas that will be probably open. I'm just such a positive person, and I always just refuse to surround myself with people who are negative all the time. And when I look at Alberta, it's almost like, to me, when I come across that bridge, it turns into the Oz. You watch The Wizard of Oz, it was all in black and white. Then all of a sudden she comes to Oz and everything turns into brilliant colors.
Yes.
And that's still how I see Alberta. I see it as the Alberta that I grew up as a kid, and I see it as the potential that Alberta has. We started with that beautiful new Alberta School of Performing Arts, which has just had a successful first year, and they'll add the 8th grade next year. That's a magnet school that will continue to pay dividends, I think, for people wanting to live in Alberta and be closer to that great school. The police precinct and the brand new fire station has allowed Alberta to have the only public safety complex in the city. And that was a significant amount of public dollars. And then we have the tennis stadium, which was over $4 million tennis stadium in J.C. Park, which is really starting to pay dividends now. And with this coming year, we're going to see a rise in state and regional tennis tournaments. And when people come in for tennis tournaments, they're going to have to, come to Alberta. They're going to spend a lot of money while they're here. And hopefully in this next year, we're going to see more places to eat, because people like to, when they go play in a tournament, they like to eat and sleep close to where they play. So hopefully not only the restaurants, especially fast food, but possible hotel is in the works. The Gateway is going to be something that people are going to absolutely be blown away by. The Gateway is Alberta's Innovative and Technology Center. It's the library of the future. It's a bookless library that people will be able to, this world is turning so technologically savvy, but a lot of people have been left behind. At the Gateway, we'll have 50 iPads there. We'll be able to teach people how to work their iPads, work their iPhones. Then we'll have an area there that people who know more about technology than anyone will be challenged, with all imaging walls, and you'll be able to download all types of books and materials right straight to your smartphone. And if you don't have the technology, we're going to have it there, and it's going to be free.
Awesome.
We also have a coffee shop that is going to be great. Can't name the brand that will be moving in. We're close to a contract with a great coffee shop, and it will open its doors to a beautiful park that will be in front of the school. That the final design was done last week, which will feature abundance of water fountains set to music and color.
Oh, wow.
That can change colors for pink for breast cancer awareness, and for Christmas with Christmas music and red and green colors and all. And one of the, I guess, getting the most of the news right now is the new Amtrak station. The city has basically been told that we could lose Amtrak service. one reason Amtrak says because of the condition of the current station, they're looking for a brand new location to increase their ridership. The Amtrak officials visited our city and chose the Leland Shopping Center site.
Okay.
That's where they'd like to move.
Okay.
The city has made a financial commitment to help them do that. So we're hoping within the next 60, 90 days that Amtrak can make it official and we can start work on a brand new train station.
So the tracks that run adjacent to the Leland Shopping Center, Amtrak runs on that line.
Okay. And that will be their stop. Amtrak in Meridian and in Huntsville, all around Amtrak's made an entertainment center in Huntsville. Around the Amtrak, they built a hotel, they built a restaurant, they have coffee shops, they have like a Ed and Buster, Jim and Buster's, or whatever.
Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's. Thank you. I hear about it all the time, but I don't know. So that could be a huge shot in the arm for Alberta.
Absolutely.
And plus, it's 1 mile from campus. So game days will be big on people taking the train. Also, all these school kids right now are going to Washington, and many of them, because of unable to be able to park their cars at the current location, have been flying, but they would prefer to take the Amtrak to D.C. So it just opens up so many possibilities for Alberta. The final design is being done right now as we speak for a new Domino's in Alberta. It will be the first prototype of its type with the full drive-through and all that. Domino's, the national brand pizza place, has made their commitment to Alberta.
Okay.
So we're just we had a brand new cottage court, it's called, which are beautiful new cottages. It's a new cottage neighborhood that is about over halfway completed right now, which will help bring a lot of new residential into Alberta. So,
and where is that?
It's located on 31st Avenue East, which is basically right behind the Rite Aid. You will see, too, across from Alberta Baptist, which is built back beautifully, behind it, the new Alberta Parkway, which is a beautiful new road that will eventually come through J.C. Park and will run parallel to the University Boulevard from Kicker Road to the new school. Yeah. Which will help alleviate a lot of the traffic during the mornings and the afternoons. There's also a huge piece of property across from Alberta Baptist, which has just been rezoned for new residential.
Okay.
Which will offer a variety of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom opportunities, from townhomes to garden homes to some pretty upscale apartments. University of Alabama has bought all the way to J.C. Park, just about behind Bryce. So as the university has 37,500 students now, with the possibility going to 50,000 students, one of the natural areas of growth is going to be east toward Alberta, which will only open up a lot more opportunities for us.
Now, what are the plans for the Leland Shopping Center other than the Amtrak station? Because I know it's been cleared, and it's been cleared for a while now.
Well, there have been all sorts of rumors. The one I can say is not a rumor is the Amtrak. And Amtrak is not a large station, but developers have talked to me about that they're courting a hotel that will feed into the Amtrak station with a nice restaurant, coffee shop. Rent-a-car places have also want to be close to Amtrak. Shopping opportunities, I think, are going to be the biggest possibility for the rest of it. There's a certain grocery store chain that has looked at that area as putting a neighborhood mart there. Okay. I think everyone knows what I'm talking about. That was discussed, I know, but that is private property. Okay. So the city would really, unless there were zoning changes, would have no say. But I believe just from the response we're getting now from Amtrak, people understand the ridership of a successful Amtrak run, that they will be wanting to locate closer. Absolutely. To the area. So that's a prime piece of property. Like I said, it's 1 mile from the nursing school. So basically, you are 1 mile east of 38,000 students.
Right.
Not counting the faculty and staff.
Right.
And,
And the hospital.
And DCH, Bryce Hospital, and then further to your east, you've got the VA hospital.
Awesome.
I wish I was rich. I would have been buying up property already because out there and developing, because people who haven't will wish that they had. That's what I feel like the future of Alberta is going to be.
Okay.
And, Alberta always has some of the greatest tradition of any area in the city. Of course, it at one time was its own.
Right.
And then when it annexed into Tuscaloosa, Alberta has always been the place back in the 60s and 70s in its heyday was where everybody shopped, the department store, Pizitz department stores, and anyone that located in Alberta, it was the first IHOP, it was the first Waffle House, it was the first Arby's, it was the first Hardee's, it was the first Krispy Kreme, it was the first shopping center, the Tuscaloosa Saw.
Wow.
It was, if anyone wanted to develop in Alberta, in Tuscaloosa, they got their feet wet first in Alberta to see how things would go. There's no reason why it can't go back to that again.
Right. And you do anticipate it going back to that?
Till my last breath. I've had the great fortune of representing Alberta and District 5 since 1997.
Wow.
And so I'll be soon coming up on my 20th year. And I hope to be there another 20 or whatever it takes, because that's where I live. I love that area the most. It's my home, So my colleagues on the council will tell you that I should probably change my name to Alberta, because that is what I eat, sleep, and dream, and work hard for Alberta every day. And one thing I think is very important, though, I want Alberta to always keep its great diversity. In 97 up to today, we probably have the most diverse area. I think Alberta reflects the entire city population. Race, gender, education. That's something I think is very important, and we always want to, that's something I've always pointed to as an area of pride, the great diversity that Alberta, the community, has.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me, because, of course, like I said, we are upon the 5th anniversary of the tornado, and I know that drastically changed, your work environment, let's just say, because you are very active in your district, and I know your constituents probably pulled on you. Hey, what are we going to do? What's going to happen? So I just wanted your outlook on how you feel like things have progressed since that time. So I greatly appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Jade. We've come a long way. We've got a long way to go. And, for people who, I just want to say this too, for people who said, gosh, why haven't it's been so slow? It reminds me of the tortoise and the hare.
Right.
The old story, you know who always won. The hare started off fast, I'll say 15th Street, but the tortoise won the race. And I think in the end, traffic, quality types of development are what we're going to get.
Absolutely.
Because we've only got really one chance to get it really right again. So I would rather be like that ketchup commercial. We're coming out real slow, but boy, does it taste good.
Right.
And so, and that's how I think about Alberta. And I really want to thank you. People, I know, surely you're aware of how many people follow you and how many people love your show. And because I can always tell when I'm on Jade Nicole's show, because my phone blows up.
Really?
And so, yes. And so people tell me that all the time. And I just want to thank you for this forum and all that you do yourself for this community. And this company better be doggone happy that they've got you.
Well, thank you. I wasn't expecting all that. I greatly appreciate it.
Hey, I speak the truth.
Well, thank you so much. All right, have a good one.
Bye-bye.
All right.